So let's talk about 4 really cool habits you can do today to start to burn fat and balance your hormones. And what I want you to know is that burning fat and even balancing your hormones, there's a strategy. So when you feel like you're gaining weight or you can't lose weight, it's because you just didn't get the strategy. And on this video, I want to give you 4 key parts of that strategy. Are you ready? Let's dive in. First, I want to just always remind us that when you are gaining weight, all weight is your body had too much of something and it didn't know where to put it. So it put it around your belly, your booty, your legs, your arms, your face, instead of putting it around your internal organs. Your body is so brilliantly designed. This is a major piece to this. But what's interesting is that when we want to go release this excess, there's a strategy that we have to sort of think of it like these strategies are a way that you can communicate to the body and tell it, you can let go of that weight now. You don't need to hold on to it. And so it's like a communication to the body to release weight. And the first strategy is my favorite. And no, it's not fasting, not yet. But the first strategy is sleep. So it's really fascinating because we are seeing people who will eat really healthy diets and they still aren't able to lose weight, but they're skimping on sleep. And people who eat really healthy diets and are really dedicated to their sleep and they start to lose weight. Sleep is one of the most miraculous healing tools we have, and we don't give it enough credit. So it's interesting because sleep doesn't just affect weight loss. So we know like a 2020 study in Obesity Journal really showed that there was 33% less weight loss in people who skimped on sleep. We know that a lack of sleep can start to affect wrinkles, that poor quality of sleep can speed up the aging of your skin. We know from a 2023 review in sleep medicine clinics that you get decreased exercise performance up to 40%. And we also know that it affects brain function. And it's really interesting because there's a fascinating study here, a 2000 study in Occupational and Environmental Medicine that split people into 2 groups. One group, they kept up for 28 hours. So that's a lot of lack of sleep. The other group, they gave several alcoholic drinks. So I know alcohol, there's a big trend right now that is moving people away from alcohol. And it's interesting because we always have to put it within context of a healthy living, because if you're stopping alcohol, but you're not prioritizing sleep, you're still missing a major health tool that needs to be brought back into your diet. And this particular study had researchers look at performance around memory, cognition, reaction time, and complex motor skills. And after 19 hours without sleep, the equivalent of waking up at 6 a.m. and going to bed at 1 a.m., the participants showed the same cognitive impairment as if they had had 5 glasses of wine. That's how powerful sleep is. So it's really important we get sleep. Usually the question is, how do we get sleep? So couple hacks. If you're a postmenopausal woman, I just want to point out that estrogen helped with the circadian rhythm of your body. So it helped your internal clock understand what time of day it was. So when estrogen declines, you now need to use other clues like light. So you need to get out in morning light, midday light, afternoon light. You need to start moving a lot more. I have a whole chapter on sleep in my new book, Age Like a Girl. So you can check that out. But what I want to say is that the loss of estrogen changed your circadian rhythm. So these little simple tools you do throughout the day are really important. Now, if you're not a menopausal woman, then they also are important, but again, not as important because estrogen really coordinated that circadian rhythm. We also know that there are some tools like magnesium, specifically 400 milligrams of magnesium before bed improves sleep quality and helps you fall asleep faster. 1 milligram of melatonin before bed, which can be really important, especially for menopausal women, because you have lost that internal clock. That can make a big difference right before you go to bed. And then electronics. So again, we're back at blue light at the end of the day can really start to throw off your circadian rhythm, especially if you're a menopausal woman. So look at routines, look at, I've taught you guys a lot. The Menopause Reset book that's already out right now. This was a book I put out years ago. I have a whole chapter on sleep in there. I've had lots of videos out on sleep, but there is a lifestyle that you do during the day to get a good night's sleep. So this isn't just about rubbing melatonin all over your body or taking massive amounts of magnesium. There's a deeper conversation to be had here, and there's a rhythm throughout the day that is going to help you sleep at night. And then when you're sleeping, you're burning fat. How cool is that? That's sleep. That's number one. Okay. Number two is try intermittent fasting. It is really the most important weight loss tool that I have ever seen. I will tell you, when all those weight loss drugs came out and I sat with people who were on them and I was like, tell me what you're noticing. Everything they said to me, I thought, that sounds like what fasting does, but there's no side effects. There's no expense. So if you want to drop weight, intermittent fasting is absolutely the door in. And if you add that with something called protein pacing, where we're putting in different amounts of protein throughout your day, you really will start to lose weight. So let's talk about the research on this. So a 2023 study in the Journal of Obesity compared intermittent fasting to a normal low-calorie diet. Let's talk about the calorie for a moment. This is a big debate. I get so many people who tell me, but fasting is just low calorie. Fasting is not low calorie. Fasting is time restriction, not calories restriction. So what's really interesting about this study is that they did one full day of fasting a week compared to somebody who did a low calorie diet every single day. The participants followed their given diets for 8 weeks. And what they found was fasting 1 day a week was superior to normal dieting in every single way, including there were nearly 2 times an overall weight loss than calorie restriction. There was 2 times the visceral fat loss. There was 14% decrease in visceral fat loss, and they had more appetite reduction than the calorie restriction people. So if you have fallen in to the messaging that low calorie is your way to lose weight, please, please, please stop killing yourself and depriving yourself and start looking at intermittent fasting as your weight loss tool. It is easier. You'll stick with it over time. And if that is you, put it in the comments so we can help everybody here understand. So what was also interesting with this protein pacing is that the fasting group, and this is something I've been talking about this forever, and it's now making it to the zeitgeist. I did videos on this like 5 years ago, and it's finally making it to the zeitgeist, which is when the fasting group also ate 20 to 40 grams of protein at every meal, and they cycled it in. So there's a small meals, like you open up your eating window and there's a couple of hours, you're eating another 20 grams of protein and another 20 grams of protein. They call it protein pacing. I've called it protein cycling. You call it whatever you want. And they believe that the combination of fasting with this protein pacing is a magical key to dropping more weight. And the thing we love about protein is it has all those amino acids and minerals in them, and and collagen and creatine, and they're so good for other reasons. So if you want to start by doing a very simple protocol, fast once a week. If a full day is too much, you can just skip breakfast or aim for 16, 17 hours. And then eat 20 to 40 grams of protein every 2 hours. So that can be just like a couple eggs. That can be some nut butter, meat, fish, eggs, tofu, collagen-rich proteins like animal, like grass-fed beef. If you do it, you can even do collagen powder every 2 hours. And this protein pacing will absolutely start to get your metabolism primed for dropping weight. And you tack that to a 16, 17 hour fast. Now, if you want to even go like one thing deeper, is get off the carbs for a day. I'm not saying get off all the time, but I have never, ever seen anything drop weight quicker than fasting mixed with carnivore eating, where you're just eating protein. It's if you have like a photo shoot or you have a wedding or you have something where you need to lose weight fast, that is my go-to tool. Guess what? Age Like a Girl, my new book. It's ready for pre-orders. And this is the most personal book I have ever written. And I'm so excited to bring it to you. If you are looking to reinvent yourself through the menopause process, or maybe you're on the other side and you're still looking for that reinvention, I'm going to show you exactly why menopause works in your favor and how you can make it your greatest moment yet. Age Like a Girl. Okay, number 3. Third thing on weight loss, and this is really interesting because it's something to add in. So we have sleeping, yay, we just sleep and burn fat. We have intermittent fasting and eating protein and we burn fat. And the third one is that you eat soy once a day. So soy got a real bad rap. You can listen to my podcast that I did with Dr. William Lee, who wrote the book Eat to Beat Disease. And he actually talks about how he oversaw the study that said soy was going to cause too much estrogen and that it would cause cancer. And he completely reversed what that study found. He said we misread the type of estrogen. You can go listen to that podcast on the Resetter podcast. And so we now know that soy is a superfood for women, and it's for 2 reasons. One is it's packed with phytoestrogens. And these phytoestrogens are really important for regulating your metabolism. Okay, think about this walk with me here. Don't leave me. When we start to lose estrogen, we become more insulin resistant. Remember that belly weight you gained at 43 and you're like, whoa, where did this come from? I never seen this before. It was a drop in estrogen. So does that mean you got to put all estrogen creams on you and patch it up, maybe increase your dose? Well, not what this study says. A 2013 study in Estrogen Journal of Drug Metabolism found that soy phytoestrogen increases estrogen levels if you eat the soy regularly. This isn't like one bowl of tofu. This is like bringing soy in. It went on to say that soy is especially good for women over 40 because as you enter perimenopause, your estrogen production starts to drop, and that starts to make you more insulin resistant. We also know a 22 study in the Journal of Midlife Health said that perimenopausal women who ate phytoestrogen-rich soy daily for 12 weeks saw a 38% decrease in perimenopausal symptoms. So soy is so much bigger than just fat loss. We are really seeing that it can be something to supplement in as you are losing that natural estrogen, as you are moving into the best years of your life. And it can be that real key tool as you transition into your postmenopausal years. So there are a lot of ways you can get soy. Soybeans edamame is my favorite. Make sure it's organic. Tofu, I try to put tofu. When I go out to eat, I'm not really good at cooking it. Eat Like a Girl. We got a lot of tofu recipes in here. So feel free to dive into Eat Like a Girl. And we had a plant-based chef that did a whole section of plant-based recipes in there. Many of them are filled with tofu and tempeh, which is fermented tofu. So soy sauce, you'd have to eat a lot of it. Or gluten-free tamari. Soy milk's not my favorite because usually those are filled with a lot of fillers unless you're making it on your own. Tempeh, miso, and soy nuts. So there's a lot of options for soy. Just get them in every day. Okay, number 4. This is your guys' favorite. Y'all say this. I mean, you love these videos when I do them. So I just keep bringing them back to you. Number 4 is to take apple cider vinegar before you go to bed. Okay. Why apple cider vinegar before you go to bed? Well, remember, what's happening when you go to sleep is that your body is starting to get rid of this excess. You also have every organ in your system that starts to repair itself. We also know when we sleep, the brain shrinks. And so cerebral spinal fluid comes up and it starts to detox your brain. And so when we go to bed, we want our blood sugar to be stable, and apple cider vinegar can do that. And the research, a 2013 study, a Journal of Obesity, found that food cravings, we talked about this. I did a whole video on food cravings, so I'm sure my team will put the link in here. I really go look at that. But this study showed that food cravings are the most common in the evening. And that especially starting 4 hours before you go to bed. So when participants in the study took apple cider vinegar after dinner, before they went to bed, there was 25% more food to satisfy their evening cravings. So it's like dinner worked for them. They didn't need to have anything else. So dinner, apple cider vinegar, and then go to sleep. We also know that a 2015 review in the Journal of Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics found that a spoonful of apple cider vinegar reduces your appetite. So how about you try it before dinner? You try it after dinner. A 2024 study published in the British Medical Journal found that with 120 overweight people, when they drank, there was one group that had a placebo and there was one group that had the vinegar. And the vinegar group, by the way, you're going to ask me this, had 1 to 3 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar daily for 12 weeks. And the group with the vinegar lost significantly more weight and had better blood sugar control than the group that didn't. So it really is in that blood sugar control. It puts a brake on the blood sugar spiking or dipping. And when you put a brake on glucose, then there's no extra glucose to go around your body to be stored. So super simple techniques. We've got sleep. We've got apple cider vinegar before we sleep. We've got fasting. And we have got soy. Simple. Weight loss isn't hard. I promise you. I know it feels hard, but once you have the strategy, you can start to implement little by little. Once you get some momentum, then your motivation is going to go up. But if you're really struggling with weight loss, this is where dive into Fast Like a Girl. There's so many women that lost weight using the guide in here. Men even lost weight doing it as well. But don't give up on yourself. If you haven't lost weight, you're frustrated. Bringing in some new tools like this can make all the difference. So as always, I hope that helps. So on the next video it's called Do This Before You Sleep to Avoid Belly Fat. And there's habits you want to do the night before, and there's habits you want to do in the morning, and all of those make a big difference. Make sure your room is cool. If our mattress is cool, if the room is cool, it activates the parasympathetic nervous system. This is a little bit like cold plunges.